I say. Okay, so this is a couple of vandals from the Eco Cry Bully cell known as Just Stop Oil, and that was soup. Possibly Campbell's soup. This would have been a great time to desecrate Andy Warhol's most infamous masterpiece, but you strike me as the kind of people who don't quite think things through. So you went with Van Gogh instead. If that was a watercolour, you might have done some damage, but you just can't stop oil. And it was behind glass anyway, so there's no need to worry, folks. But there are certainly some other emotions you can go ahead and feel.
Security?
Yeah, security's not going to help you. I mean, they had one job. If they were doing it properly, these people's faces would be against the floor by now. Maybe they're calling for backup. It's less important that you get in there before they attempt to vandalize any other priceless artifacts. It's more important that you accumulate enough muscle to bring down these intimidatingly mountainous specimens. You'd think by now you'd at least be hearing some hurried footsteps reverberating around the echo chamber of these empty rooms as they hastily squeak across the floorboards. Alas not. Still nothing. They really should have turned up some time ago to say, "Excuse me, folks, no pictures allowed. Can you put down the various cameras, please?" 1, 2, 3, 4. The guy on the left has a professional camera with a zoom lens. The guy in the middle appears to have a film camera with a big old microphone sticking out the front of it. And whoever's filming this shot, presumably just some rando who quickly whipped out his phone instead of doing anything to help either. Finally, someone's here. Do something, black shirt dude. Okay, never mind. Just get your own phone out, and I guess you're just going to film it as well. I don't know. Shall we listen to them, folks? These virtuous eco warriors. Shall we go ahead and soak in what these darlings have to say, while the soup continues soaking into the picture frame?
What is worth more, art or life?
For those of you who don't speak toffee-nosed Hertfordshire brat, that was what is worth more, art or life. Well, oil is made of life, and art is made of oil. Hence, there is not much art, there's quite a lot of oil, and there's absolutely shitloads of life. The more of something there is, the less valuable it is. And I can say with some considerable, albeit flippant, confidence, that painting is more valuable than your useless deadweight arse. Unless you get shot in Sandy Hook and then you're worth more than $1 billion. I don't make the rules. Oh, hey, you know what else is made from petroleum? Hair dye.
Oscar Wilde, could you...
Is it worth more?
Did you just call for Oscar Wilde? Is that some security code for we have an active vandalism situation here? See, I don't think you need a secret code so as to try and hide that information from the public. They can see what's going on. A spectacle is being made and a crowd has been drawn and you're still not doing anything about it!
Is it worth more than food? Worth more than justice?
Is art worth more than food? What, that painting? Yes. By a long chalk, that painting is worth more than most food. But like almost all food. I'm sure you eat your Frosties with champagne and gold flakes every morning, but for the rest of us, we could feed our families for a lifetime on how much that painting costs. Is it worth more than justice? I don't know. If there was any justice in the world, then those men would not be holding their cameras 3 feet from your face. They would be using them to pummel at your face with the heavy end before you could even begin this feather-brained apocalyptic spiel of yours. And then they would leave you glued to the wall forever for people to pelt you with tomatoes and watermelons for the rest of your short, starving lives. And then, long after your pointless deaths as the museum centrepiece, a couple of sullied skeletons propped up against the skirting board, an everlasting monument to the unthinkingly destructive dark side of human nature. I hope they piss in your mouth while they're at it. I'm just being humorously rhetorical, by the way. I realise you're just children. The real culprits here are the adults in this doom cult who at least put you up to this and at worst are actively using children as their swords and shields, because if they did it themselves, they would end up in prison. I know you're out there, and whoever you are, kill yourselves.
Are you more concerned about the protection of a painting or the protection of our planet and people?
The planet is going to be just fine for the next 5 billion years. The planet is a giant churning ball of molten rock and metal that does not give a Castlemaine 4X what happens to any of us. Even the thin sphere of life forms on the surface of this planet will not so much as bat an eyelid. If we take all the oil in existence, turn the whole lot into monster truck tires and burn it at the North Pole, they'll be fine. Better than fine. They'll grow into giant beasts like the last time there was that much carbon in the atmosphere. As will the trees and plants you love so much that you will eat them without their consent. People, on the other hand, yes. People are extremely fragile and delicate, and as a general phenomenon, and you're not going to help them by plunging them back into the Pleistocene by stripping them of the energy they need to maintain a civilization. How about instead of just stopping oil, could you think of a positive thing to do? How about just starting nuclear energy? Instead of starting a nuclear war with Russia, how about we use that shit for the benefit of the people that you claim to hold so valuable? Yeah, don't pretend that you love people. You clearly don't. You only love communists, and communists are not people in a video game.
The cost of living crisis is part of the cost of oil crisis. Fuel is unaffordable to millions of cold, hungry families. They can't even afford to heat a tin of soup.
Weird! That wasn't the case 3 years ago. We were doing just fine 3 years ago. Instead of blaming the developments of the last 2 centuries, which gradually improved human prosperity and human quality of life, might we consider addressing what's happened in the last 3 years that's already rapidly sinking us into famine, pestilence, death, and war? Can you think of anything? Anything unprecedented and regressive and destructive that might have happened on a global scale in that time? Might you consider taking your vapid neurosis out on whosoever has inflicted this on the people, rather than taking it out on the people onto whom it has been inflicted? The people who just came out to look at some nice paintings, perhaps on their way to touch grass. Never mind taking it out on Vincent van Gogh. Hurrah! It looks like we've finally got a security guard on the scene. My brother in Christ, can you please do your job and remove these mindless limp wrist dragging vagabonds before they do any more damage? Or just remove everyone except the vandals. Brilliant. You just follow their lead and punish the people who have to face the problem, not punish the people causing the problem. Whatever. It looks suspiciously like they're in on it, doesn't it? Like the museum administration is just kind of letting this happen. It's quite possible that that's not the original painting, and that it's a publicity stunt using a fake. It wouldn't surprise me, but yeah, nor would it surprise me if it was the original. Because rich communists with plums in their mouths can get away with anything these days. That's what happens in falling empires. That interminable whining, screeching sound you heard just now, that was the death rattle of a collapsing civilization. It'll probably be what you hear as you die in the waking DMT nightmares of your inevitably unfortunate demise. Try not to act surprised when it comes. I will see you nowhere on our way to the omnipresent limbo of our destiny. Please donate to my Subscribe Star or my Patreon. I'm going to need 30 pieces of silver. Due to inflation, is now over 9,000 pieces of silver. Do what you can, ladies and gentlemen, and don't do what you can't. Just don't do anything. Nothing matters. Nobody cares. Auf Wiedersehen. Goodbye.